Hello. I am making this video because I am sick and tired of this happening to all sorts of cities. And I know it is because this can't be the only one. And I want people to start standing up for what I feel is right. Now, I can understand if the buildings are too out of repair that they can't be restored. But in this sense, where I'm living, no, they could very well have been restored, and yet the city chose, because they want to line their pockets a little bit more, that they would destroy the buildings. Because why not put up a 4-story apartment complex right on the busiest block in town, where there's a waterbed under, so they can't put underground parking no matter how much they want to try to make the citizens believe that that's the case. But yeah, the videos are starting to be torn down, and it's really sad to see. So I figured I'd make a video on it, just expressing how I feel about the matter, and hopefully I can inspire some other people to make a difference and save the history of their town. Now, I don't really care if you know what town I live in, because I'm not really that big of a creator. And I know I someday will be, but I'm old enough, I'll be out of here by that point. So, right here, when I turn my phone around, we have this building, we have that building, and then there were 2 buildings farther back there. This is Block 52 in Monticello, Minnesota. Now, the first building, the brick one that has it goes like, I'll just show you, it's that one, that building right there. That was built in 1904 by Mr. Samuel Mealy along with his father Tobias Mealy to further their company, of which they had established in our town. And the building stayed as Mealy and Company until about 1935-36, when it was sold to the Johnson family. They took over the store and made it Johnson's Outlet. Now, it stayed as Johnson's until about the 90s, and then they brought in an Alive Lutheran Church at some point, but I know there were some different places in there between that time. Now, from what I know, Steve Johnson, the person who owned it last, the head of the EDA, sold it to the city. And the building on the corner, the one that the wall is torn out, was the old Ghouls Brothers gas station. The building was built in 1911 to be a sort of apartment building, and then it became a gas station, and then a Chevrolet dealership. The building in and of itself may have had some water damage, but it was fixable. And the building that no longer stands, that I can't show you because, well, it no longer stands, was the Christian and Missionary Alliance Church that was built in 1962 after the destruction of the original Advent Church, which stood in the same place as the Ghouls Brothers building. It was built there in 1869, and it was moved 3 times. Once from the position of where the Ghouls Brothers building was over, and then behind when they expanded Pine Street, Highway 25. And it stood behind there until about 1961 when they tore it down and built the new building for their church. But the Advent congregation had already disbanded by that point because they sold it to the Christian and Missionary Alliance congregation in 1931. So that's about 150 years worth of history, and the building is only about, 60 years old? Yeah, this would have been its 60th year. And then there was an odd garage that sat in the middle of that. Now, I'm going to list some of the purposes these buildings could have been used for. The odd garage. Well, I mean, you could have clearly made that into some sort of bicycle shop. I can understand if you want to tear that down to open up for parking. You could have turned the old Christian and Missionary Alliance Church after killing the black mold on the inside, which it really wasn't that bad. I seen it myself, believe me. You could have made a restaurant or a police station, because Monticello is the biggest city in Wright County that doesn't have a police station. Is that not a good idea? You could reuse the buildings. And then the building on the corner, well, Monty Arts was in there for a little while because we have this group in town that does art and stuff. And they're actually helping me with something, and I need to go talk with them tomorrow. I haven't been over there in a while. But anyhow, they could have made the Ghouls Brothers building into like a little boutique shop, because everybody seems to like this town for its historical buildings. That's kind of what brought the tourist here, but yeah, now that's not going to be the case anymore. So, yeah, no, that building's gone, and they could have used it for other purposes too. They could have remade it a gas station if they really wanted to, and put apartments upstairs. Just like the Johnson's building, they could have put apartments upstairs, and they already had a business in the stuccoed side of that building. It was called Preferred Title, but they forced them to move over there because, oh, they're tearing them down. I believe you could have used Johnson's to put in another outlet type store. It really wouldn't have been that hard. And that was the best conditioned buildings out of all three of them. No, four of them. But no, the city just bought them all up, let them sit, and then they decided to tear them down using taxpayer money to put up a 4-story apartment complex, which will have no room for parking considering we have Riverfest and music in the park. And this entire parking lot just gets full. And you can't put underground parking because it's so close to the river. And my evidence for this is this apartment complex over here. They built this a couple years back, and they ran into the issue of a waterbed over there because the river's over there. And if there's a waterbed all the way out here, there's obviously a waterbed right here. So, no, you can't put that there. And they're going to reconnect Walnut Street, which was disconnected back in like the 70s because of all the accidents that would happen during the winter on that intersection. But no, they're reconnecting that, and then they plan to put parking along this road. People speed down this like nutcases when they want to get off of 25's traffic. Like, there's so many things that are wrong, or that is wrong with this entire endeavor, and yet they don't care because they want to make a little more money, line their pockets because taxpayer money, and also get paid because this is their job, the EDA, the Economic Development Firm. This is the most corrupt EDA I've ever seen. They bought the buildings on the block real far, like past 25. They bought those 3 buildings 10 years ago. Sit, and they don't do jack shit with them. Excuse my French, but honestly, there's so many things that could have been done with this, but they don't care because they are not here for helping Monticello. If they were really here for helping Monticello, they wouldn't do something so stupid. And I know that this kind of stuff is happening in other towns, and it should be reported and stopped before it gets to this point. I mean, we knew about this 2 years ago. I knew about it a year and a half ago. And I tried all sorts of efforts. I tried using my friends, the Freemasons. I tried contacting Dan Browning from the Star Tribune because I know he did an expose on Jeff O'Neill, the previous head of the city council, that proved all of his corruption, so he resigned. So I tried contacting him, and he didn't answer me. And then, let's see, what else did I do? So the Masons, Dan Browning. Oh, and I tried to contact Von Veit of the Veit Construction Company. Now, his wife answered. I explained the matter to her, and she probably thought it was some scam, so I can understand, but she immediately said, not interested, and hung up, and I never got a chance to speak with Von, so that didn't work. But yeah, I tried all sorts of things. A 15-year-old trying all of these efforts to stop the city from doing something so stupid and so destructive to our town. I mean, I may be a historian, but on every sense, this is just stupid. So if this is happening in your city, if you know about it 2 years before they finally get all the plans done and everything, for the love of God, do something. Tell people, because that's another thing they were doing. The city was trying to hide this. Well, not exactly hide it, but, you know, somebody would post about it on, like, the Monticello Facebook page, and it would get taken down. You can't put posters up around town because the city won't allow it. I mean, it was like they were trying to cover it up until the last minute, and even then, very few people now even know about it. Like, there's people who go into Frank and Bessie's Attic, the antique store I frequent, and Terry has the picture of the apartment plans on her desk, and people are like, oh, where are they doing this? This block right here. What? Exactly. They don't know. So, expand to the people around your town, because if you get enough people involved, they can't just deny it, and if they do further it then contact people in power. like government positions, county positions, stuff like that. I mean, it can't be corrupt all the way up the line, and even if it is, you can still do it with enough people. You can stop it, you can protest it. I'm not saying cause riots, but just, we can't let so many things of our history just get destroyed because, oh, let's put up apartment complexes so I can put more money in my pocket. Like, seriously. This is happening everywhere. I mean, just look, for example, at the towns like Maple Grove or something like that. And yeah, they may have been small towns, and this was a bigger town back then, so this is more of a drastic example. But all of the historical buildings are getting destroyed in those towns just because the people in those towns don't care enough to preserve it. I know I'm ranting, but honestly, people should stand up for what's right. They shouldn't just let this stuff happen. And I'm 16 now, and this is coming from a 16-year-old. A modern-day 16-year-old, you know, the average ones who just stare at their phones and play video games. I don't do that. I see the importance of this, and I work my ass off to try to stop it. And even then I fail because not enough people are willing to step up and take action. Because nobody has guts to do anything anymore. And I'm not saying that you can't have that. You can. That's what I'm trying to say. And it just saddens me that nobody takes the time or the effort to do this anymore. Yeah, you may have work, you may have this, you may have that. But if you really tried, you could make time out of your day to go meet up with other people and create a protest of sorts. And if that doesn't do anything, if you create a big enough movement, you can get people of power interested enough to help. I mean, honestly, there's so many levels to this, because before I started going around town, I didn't know the Freemasons, but now I'm friends with them. Our local Freemason lodge, and that's just random. A 15-year-old, no, I was 14 at that time. I just made friends with the Freemasons. And yeah, I'm even working with them to make an effort to buy the old abandoned Mealy house behind the middle school to save it. The Tobias G. Mealy house, the video that I made there, touring it. And may not have been the best of quality, but it was better than nothing. And that's the house I'm going to work to save, restore it, and maybe make it into a B&B or something like that, something of importance. Bring it back to life. Because that can be done. And if something like that can be done with a building in that bad of shape, then why can't it be done with buildings with very minor inconveniences? And also, this may be just speculation, but after those properties were all bought, and they were getting closer and closer to destroying the properties, like demolition, I heard that in the Goulds Brothers building, the one on the corner, that something had burned the upstairs, like a fire. And it may have been accidental, and I will give them the benefit of the doubt, but it could also have very well been done on purpose, because that just furthers their right to destroy it, whatever that right is. So please, spread this video around, because I know there are towns all around America, and all around the world, no less, I'm sure, that are going through these types of things. And people need to step up and take action, because that's the only way you're going to get something done. If you don't do that, it's just going to happen. And yeah, okay, well, it's too late now. All of that history just destroyed. Could have been used for something else, but no, now I have to look at this ugly 4-story apartment complex that will cause so much traffic along these streets, it's ridiculous. I mean, it will make your life easier if you save the buildings. Huh? I know it's too late for Monticello. I'm still going to try to convince them to save Westbridge, though, because I have a lot of memories in that park. I really do. And they want to destroy it and put in an amphitheater. An amphitheater. And that is, you ask the locals, and all of them will agree. That's a nice park. Why destroy it for that? Just, people need to start standing up. And that means you watching it. If you know of something that's going on in your city, don't think that you can't stand up and do something about it, because you can. And if you do, then you've just changed history. Or if that's not enough for you, at least you know you haven't got more traffic to deal with in the mornings and the afternoons. All of these other types of things that may influence your specific situation, but think of something worthwhile to fight for. Because if we don't stand together as people, we can never get anything done. And all of these other people who just want to destroy stuff and make money will just get away with doing that. And I don't think that's okay. So, thank you for watching. Sorry that this was mostly venting and ranting, but this is just so sad to see. It really is, and I needed to make a video about it, and I hope to God that this gets some attention, because people need to start standing up for what's right. I'm sick of our society today. No matter if it's political bull crap or other things like this with corruption, it's just, whatever happened to morale? Whatever happened to standing up for what's right? It is basically non-existent in our modern world. Oh yeah, you got all the social rights activists, but yet there's so many riots and all this and that. Is that doing something? I'm not gonna go into political stuff, because frankly, you're hated one way or the other, and that's not what this video is about. This video is about standing up for what's right. So please, if you're watching this and you have a situation that you know is going down in your city or county or wherever you're at, and you disagree with it, you feel that it's wrong, stand up for what's right, work together, and stop it. Thanks.